So, how might we engage hearts and minds, build common purpose, and phase in change as we help people to return to work in the UK? Well, my oh my, my heart goes out to people who are HR directors or directors of health and safety. There is so much to work through. I hopefully have done this topic justice by breaking it down into three headings, which hopefully you find useful. The first one is providing some certainty in times of ambiguity and complexity and uncertainty and also anxiety. It's really important to provide as much certainty as we can in companies. And that, firstly, is going to be talking about what is the impact that COVID is having on us right now in this moment, whether that be on the demand for our services, the supply of products and services that we depend upon, on the composition of our workforce, whether that's the amount of people who are currently working from home, the amount of people who are furloughed, or the amount of people who are actually working on site right now. So it also could be, how many people do we know have been affected by COVID? Really important to allow that honouring of what's happening. The second thing is what's important now. Okay, within that context, what are the critical things as an organisation we need to do? So this has been really clear with our customers about what we can do and what we cannot do, so that there is no mistaking, there's no ambiguity around that. What's also important is about making really clear that at the heart of this, at the heart of anything that we're doing, is safety. The health, well-being and safety of people wherever they work, whether they're our own employees, employees of customers, employees of contractors and suppliers, employees of partners. So talking very openly about the fact that this is one of your key priorities in order to sustain the business that you have. So the second thing is, and I talked in the first video about the importance of empathy and supporting leaders to adopt this empathetic style of leadership. So showing you care is really important. Now, there are a huge amount of requirements, guidelines, but largely it looks like the responsibility for health, safety and well-being of employees is being put firmly at the door of employers. So talking quite openly about your policy on working from home. How long do you think it must continue in the current climate? What sort of work has to be done from home right now? What sort of work has to be done on site? And what are the arrangements that you're going to put in place around social distancing, around avoiding anything spreading through dissemination, maybe staggered start times, shift working, arrangements around travel, and most importantly, what is the recourse that people have? So if I am being asked as an employee to come and work on site and I don't feel safe, what do I do? Who do I talk to? How do I do that? Is it by email? Is it a phone call? Is it my manager? Is it a centralised process? So putting that process out really clearly up front. And it's sort of rolling on from that. What is the support that is going to be put in place? So helplines for IT issues, HR concerns, occupational health, health and safety. So where will people go? What can they do in order to get the help that they need? The final point I wanted to make is around this managing expectations and managing relationships. So one of the things that is probably really important here is around this baby steps back to work. So we could go into our normal mode of operation and go on to fast-paced delivery. But I think there's something here about coming back to work at a pace that is going to suit as many people as possible, and doing that by looking at, okay, so what are the business critical activities that need to be done? How are we going to do that? How are we going to problem solve as teams? What are the innovations that we're going to have to make? And for those people who aren't furloughed, getting them on the case, getting them involved and engaged in finding solutions as quickly as possible. But we're going to have this challenge, aren't we, of this hybrid workforce where we've got some people furloughed, we've got some people working from home, some people on site. It's really important that we keep the engagement of that coherent group as much as we possibly can. So although we might not be able to ask furloughed staff to come and work, what we can do is invite them along to virtual town halls, to Q&As, to really make sure that they still feel part of what's going on, extending, things like online learning, online training, putting no boundaries in between people who are furloughed and not furloughed. So if somebody wants to sign on to an online course, that they are able to do that. The third thing is this management of relationships, really important right now. So in times of uncertainty, really important to start to think about who is it that we really need to engage, whether they are partners, suppliers, customers, people within the organisation. What is it that we need to do? Who are they? How engaged are they compared to how engaged we want them to be? How informed are they in terms of what we need to do compared to how they need to be? What is a plan around those relationships that we need to put in place? Who might we assign to manage, what relationship? What do we want them to say? How do we want them to say it? When do we want them to say it? So that what we're doing right now is thinking and planning quite carefully about a time when people will start to come back in whatever mode we feel is appropriate at this point in time. I think that's enough right now. I hope that that's been helpful. I wish you luck with everything that you're doing. Next time, what I'm going to be talking about is how do we reorganise and how do we redeploy people at pace. In the meantime, take care.